If you find something unexpected on your property, you might be inclined to keep it. Finders keepers, as the saying goes. But what if that unexpected thing was a house? One man in Saskatchewan woke up to find that strange sight in his field. Tashana Reed is here to explain what happened next. This is such an unusual story. What happened here?
It is actually pretty funny, Jennifer. I genuinely, I love that it's such a feel-good story. But Patrick Mays, he was driving to work around 5:30 in the morning like he normally does, and he was passing a section of his property, this is near Pilot Butte, Saskatchewan, and he says there was something new when he drove by, and that new thing is what you're seeing on your screen there, a house. Take a listen to what he said happened that morning.
Was quite surprised. Usually I'm watching for deer or moose, and all of a sudden there was a house out where it doesn't usually belong. So yeah, came across a house.
So he says that he thought maybe the house would be gone by the next day. It wasn't clear why it was left there. But several days later, on another walk, he says the house was still there. So at that point, he tried to solve this mystery on his own by sharing his predicament online in a Facebook post. And that post garnered a lot of attention. It received a lot of comments from hundreds of people who found the humor in the situation, finding a house on your property. But eventually, the true owner, Brenda Robertson, saw that post. So social media bringing the owner to attention, and she says, thanks for putting this on Facebook, or else I would have had no idea. And she also says she had no idea that her home was sitting on his property. So the problem was solved just through the magic of Facebook.
Isn't that incredible? And then now the mystery, why and how did this house end up sitting in the middle of a field?
So Brenda Robertson, she lives in Lumsden, Saskatchewan, and she says, she had ordered this house. Her family thought it was on its way from Winnipeg, which is where it was made. But at some point, the moving company was told that there was a problem with power permits and that the house was supposed to go back to Winnipeg until that was sorted out. However, the movers, they say that Saskatchewan Power told them to leave the house and that they tried to contact the owners of the property but were unable to reach them.
As soon as we heard his story, we knew that we had to bring him on the show to find out more, and for good measure, we've also found the owner of that surprise home. So I want to say good morning, Patrick Mays joining us from Saskatoon, and Brenda Robertson joining me from Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Hello to you both.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Okay, Pat, we got to start with you. Take us back. It's early, really early in the morning. It's dark, I gather. You're on the way to an early meeting, and you're driving along, checking out your property. What happens?
Yeah, well, and I lived just outside of Regina, actually, and was on my way to Saskatoon at about 5:30 in the morning. And usually I'm on the lookout, there's animals on the road or things like that. And so you want to drive kind of safe. It's dark out. And suddenly realized that there's actually a house parked on my land. And so was quite surprised because it's normally just a bare quarter section. So very surprised to see it.
So surprised, but this part gets me. Well, you figured out right away, I guess it wasn't squatters, but then you just sort of shrug and leave it there for a few days, but then it's only after it's still there after a few days, then what's going through your mind?
Right, I had full day of meetings and ended up coming back and on the weekend went for a walk on Sunday and had totally forgotten about the house and then assumed it had been taken away and it was still there. And so that's when I thought, well, something seems a little strange here. And so put up on Facebook, has anybody lost a house?
Right.
And it kind of went from there. It seemed like there was quite a reaction on Facebook that people thought it was a little unusual to find a house.
And I gather you didn't even expect that the owner would actually see your Facebook post, because what are the odds that, Brenda, you would see this post? How did that come about and what went through your mind?
Well, originally, a coworker of mine had seen it on Facebook and he messaged me saying, hey, Brenda, is this your house? So I checked it out and I was very surprised that, yes, that's my house sitting on someone's land.
And so what went through your mind? When were you expecting this house, this beautiful, nice new house to be delivered?
Well, originally it was supposed to be delivered on September 27th, and there was road construction in Winnipeg where it was coming from, so that got delayed until October 25th. So when it didn't show up, we made a few phone calls, and the mover said there was a problem with the permits, and they would get that rectified and have it delivered.
Okay.
Yeah, so on Thursday when it didn't come, we made some more phone calls, and what we were told was there was a problem with permits and they were going to get that rectified, but they had to go back to Winnipeg. So we presumed that the house was going back to Winnipeg with them. because they never said that they were going to drop it on, a piece of land and come back for it.
Right, who would think that?
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so what's the company saying to you now, Brenda?
They're saying it's supposed to come today, and the permits are all in order now. And the issue wasn't safety, as the house was, had plenty of clearance to go under the power lines, but it was a minor discrepancy on the permit paperwork itself.
Did they explain to you why, though, they decided this is a good place to leave it?
Sask Power had told them to put it right there, so they said they didn't. They said they didn't have a choice.
So you then reach out on Facebook and say to Patrick, hey, that's my house. Sorry about that. Feel kind of badly. And Patrick, what do you think when you get that note?
Well, I mean, it's out in the field, so it's the farmer's already taken off the crop and won't need the field again until spring. And so I said, well, it doesn't matter. It can sit there as long as it needs to, and they can pick it up when they're ready. So, yeah.
So you were relieved, but it doesn't sound like you were losing sleep over it.
No, I knew there must be some sort of a story behind it. I knew I probably wasn't going to get to keep it in the end. So
Finders keepers doesn't apply? Sorry, Brenda?
The standard rules wouldn't apply for finders keepers, so I knew that, that something was going to happen with it. But
yeah, so hopefully today.
Yeah, so Brenda, it's been a long journey for you with this house. What's the rest of your family and friends? What are they saying about this?
Oh, everyone's having a good chuckle over it and seeing all the comments on Facebook. And I'm just thankful that Patrick's a very wonderful person, because he's taken this all in stride and has been checking the house for us. So we really appreciate that.
That's nice.
I just feel that you're dealing with all this, because I know when you're getting a new house, it's kind of an exciting time, and then to be delayed is frustrating, I'm sure, and a bit stressful. So, but it's all good.
It's wonderful to hear a happy ending in the middle of a newscast. People love that. So thank you so much for sharing your story. And I gather you haven't even met in person yet, so it's nice to see the two of you there together. I'm sure you'll be sharing some chuckles about this once you finally get to move into that house, Brenda.
Yes, we will. Thank you very much.
Take care and good luck. We will cross our fingers that house comes today. Patrick Mays and Brenda Robertson in the case of the mysterious house that showed up in the middle of a farmer's field in Saskatchewan.